What is going on, PWC fans? It is your boy Cton, joined as always by XRN. Say hello, X. Wait. Oh, it didn't work. All right, never mind. I was gonna meme real quick. Also, want to double check something real quick. Okay, that's correct. I'm doing fantastic right off the bat, as always. Professional as always. You know, we doing what we doing when we doing it. Anyway, we are here with PWC D-League Power Rankings, as always. So without further ado, this is also for week 4, by the way. So, yeah, nailed it. At number 12, we have the Minnesota Hyperfangs, coached by Thunder Number. Basically, we have you still towards the bottom. We're going to consider your record to still be winless, since the win that your team does have is from forfeit win. So that's kind of the way we're treating that. I mean, obviously it's a win in the record column, but I mean, we didn't see any play from it, so we can't judge off of that. We really want you to bring webs. For the love of God, your team is a webs team. Now that you've dropped Weavile, it's a little bit less so, but Weavile really appreciated that web support, allowing you to run band, adamant, like just really exploit teams that way. Additionally, in this matchup, we would have liked to see Assault Vest Tangrowth. FizzDef Tangrowth was a pretty solid bring to an extent, but even FizzDef, like Assault Vest Tangrowth without FizzDef, still can hang with Cobalion and Garchomp, just because of how naturally bulky it is. Additionally, when your opponent has threats like Thundurus, Diancie, who else did he have? And Volcarona. The Assault Vest will allow you to potentially take hits and get off some nice damage. So that's something to keep in mind. Another reason that we have you at number 12 right now is some kind of lackluster to an extent prep. The Hitmontop definitely needed to have Bullet Punch. You're going against a Mega Diancie, and Bullet Punch sends it to another dimension, and that's a surefire way to take on that Diancie and be able to revenge it very easily. Overall, we feel like the prep for his biggest threats wasn't necessarily there, because Diancie and Volcarona both just swept from Team Preview. Like, the second Volcarona got to +1, the game was over. The second Diancie came in, since you didn't have Bullet Punch, the game was over. You just didn't have checks for their teams. So, for the team that you were going against. So a little bit better prep for the next week, but we'll be able to move you up if you keep moving on from there. Another thing that we had, sorry to kind of wrap it up and then go back in, is when your Weavile was Icicle Crashing the, Mantine. Sorry, I couldn't think of what it was called. When he was going for the obvious roosts, that was a really good opportunity for you to make a double out into your Galvantula, and then you would have gained a lot of momentum rather than just kind of wasting turns going for Icicle Crash and hoping for, I think you needed triple flinch or double flinch in order to knock it out. So, just better win cons overall. So keep those things in mind for the future, and that is that. Moving on to number 11, we have Nate, coach of the Dallas Staravias, who is also at 0-4. We feel like, Nate, we want to move you up because, you have really good prep, but, every week you just make one or two really stupid plays, and it just, keeps you, those two plays usually just keep you from winning. This week, it was sacking Tornadus T to Scarf Emboar. You had Starmie in, and you were playing Starmie really nicely. We would have liked to see you continue to Rapidspin forever. That way you could have kept rocks off of your side of the field, and that's really beneficial because you were whittling down. So you would have ultimately won that battle, and then rocks would have been off your side for your Tornadus. But you had your Starmie in on the Emboar, which Emboar came in right away, which immediately, I get Sucker Punches and things, so, you can scout for that. But when you went for Wild Charge, outsped you, and then you went into Tornadus Therian. Tornadus Therian just got sent to another dimension on that Wild Charge, and he revealed that he was Choice Scarfed, unless you were super negative investment Starmie, which I don't even think that would underspeed Emboar if it was max speed. Not something I looked into because it's not something that will ever happen, but yeah, you should have picked up on that. that play literally sent you so far back because Torn was your biggest win con at that point in the game. Actually, I think it was your only win con at that point in the game. So play around that better. Scarf Emble was just a really good bring against your team in general. So that kind of put you on the back foot. We really liked the Silvally set for Scizor. We feel like it was a really strong counter because against your team, there wasn't really that much need to run Superpower. So really strong bring there. And yeah, overall, we feel like you had some good prep, but again, just really silly misplays sending you back a little bit. So try to, again, just as we said last time, just think through your plays a little bit longer, process the information before just rushing through it. And that's that. Next up, we have one of our coaching changes. We have 3 coaching changes this week, or 2 coaching changes and 1 that will be implemented next week. So the first one, we have Ukit, who is now coaching the Chicago Toros. We had a Toros team week 1 that then changed to the B-Drills, and now we have another Toros team. So that's fun. So we're going to treat Ukit and our other new coach as 0-0 because I don't want to power rank them based off of how the other coach played, especially in Ukit's case because his replacement was 0-3. So yeah, we don't want to kind of put him on the back foot. So we're treating our new coaches as 0-0 for now. And as they play, we'll kind of balance it out. But we have him at number 10 because we feel like there was a lot of great prep on Ukit's part. He had really strong roar phasing with the Suicune, which was really nice for the team. We wanted to see you get up some form of hazard while roar phasing because it was so successful against his team. And he played really well throughout the game. One of the biggest misplays was that you took a really high risk going hard into Suicune on the Rotom Wash. I understand what you were predicting, but at that point in the game, there was no point to make that aggressive of a play, especially when Suicune and Zapdos were just coming in and out together and just pressure stalling and keeping rocks off your side of the field. Ultimately, the two of them were providing such good defensive pressure that risking it, I don't feel, was worth it. And once that Suicune got that big Volt Switch damage, the entire battle just swung in Lagoon's favor. So we feel like you played really well. Well, wanting you to get hazards up with your team, especially the way you played it as a very defensive, kind of bulky offense type feel. But we saw a ton of potential in your prep and the defensive cores that you brought. So we're looking forward to your future battles. We just didn't really get a whole lot from this battle. I'm also recording this late, so I'm kind of rushing through it and just kind of going from memory. I don't really have the best of notes for this week. So I'm very sorry. Next week, putting up the video a day early because I'm going to be a day late. So, we're making up for lost ground. And that's that. Next up, we have the second of our new coaches. He is Ryan, coach of the Wichita Warmer Dams. And Ryan went up against Smeargle in this battle. And yeah, we have some notes here. We have really nice quick attack, Lopunny Tech, which, I think it ended up picking up a kill. I'm pretty sure it picked up a kill. But yeah, really nice tech there. The soundproof X-Cloud was a really solid bring because obviously Mega Gardevoir clicking Hyper Voice is a huge threat to any team, even if you have resistances. So good prep there. You also didn't really have any reason to run Scrappy, but having the know-how to make sure that you have that ability on there is really, really intelligent there on your end. One of the biggest reasons that we have you so low was that Slowking was undersped in its own Trick Room, which is absolutely detrimental to its success. We feel like Trick Room was a really strong bring, given how fast and offensive Smeargle's team is, but we also feel like you kind of wasted all of your Trick Room turns, just scalding or slack-offing 3 times, then getting up one Calm Mind, setting up another Trick Room, then doing the same thing, and then ultimately getting undersped within your Trick Room. So those are the 2 big downsides to what we felt you did. Overall, we feel like you had a really strong prep. It brings your team's overall record to 2-2. We have you at 0-1 though for fair measure, but really strong prep. Case of kind of bad matchup and going up against one of our higher ranked teams. So keep up the good work there, and you'll definitely be moving up, especially with the way you played. We feel like you played pretty well, but ultimately we're going to have you at number 9 for now. Moving on to number 8, we have Tim, coach of the New Jersey Rebels. No changes here. And Tim, this game was Embor winning. Yeah, just really strong bring with the Scarf Embor. Looking through Nate's team, the only thing that outspeeds it are other Scarf users, and even his viable Scarf users aren't that good against Embor. So really strong bring there. Basically, anytime it touched the field, it was going to get a kill, as usual with Embor. Yeah, we had really strong coverage scouting. Well, I don't remember who was in, but it was something we... Hang on, let me pull up their team. I might remember then. Professional as always. It might have been... I think it was Uxie? It was Uxie, Superior, or Rodimo, because I know when Verzion was in, you doubled into your Scizor because it was low and didn't have much viability left in the matchup, and scouted out that he did have X Scizor, and that was really beneficial for your team. So really good scouting there. Only real note I have on this battle is Embor, and Embor just putting in a jillion times of work and leading you to a clean 4-0 victory. Moving on to number 7, we have It's, coach of the Sacramento Nido Kings. It's fallen to AVP 05 and falling to 2-2. We have you at 7 because one of the highlights of the battle was seeing Pyukumuku and Pyukumuku putting in work. But this entire battle was you on the back foot trying to stop AVP from sweeping, and ultimately it didn't end up with a clean sweep, but it was pretty much a sweep, if that makes sense. If you watch the battle, it'll make sense. But we think you played around the Calm Mind Coco very, very well, getting the damage off with Sylveon and then sacking off Pyukumuku to get the innards out kill, because Calm Mind Coco, it looked like the battle was just over. I thought it was going to be unaware puke, so having that innards out was absolutely huge, preventing an early 6-0. But then after that, when you had your Milotic in against a Mega Glade, you went for Bulldoze on a sub, and Bulldoze definitely wasn't breaking a sub. I mean, a Scald wouldn't have either, given AVP's investment, but the Bulldoze was questionable because at least Scald had potential to break a sub, whereas Bulldoze had 0 shot. So that was a little bit questionable. Yeah, didn't really understand that play. Milotic getting crit against the Gallade was pretty unfortunate because that obviously gave Gallade a ton of health back. Additionally, it goes through your Marvel scale, so that was really unfortunate for you. I don't know if it mattered too much because your play was just shuffling Lando in, sacking something, going into Lando, sacking something, and then firing off the Z-Brave Bird from Lando, which still did not kill Gallade with that bulk upset. So we feel like you played pretty well against the setup given the circumstances, but with better prep, you wouldn't have had to play in that defensive of a matter. So with that being said, that's kind of why we have you at number 7. We think you we think you played pretty well, again, given the circumstances, but the circumstances were not good. So yeah, overall, that's why we have you at number 7. Could have been number 8 and swapped with Tim, but alas, we decided to keep you at 7. Next up, we have our previous number 1 falling down to number 6, Jake, who has now left the league and will be replaced next week by TPB Webinizer. So we have Jake at number 6 because he got 6-0'd very, 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 very cleanly. There was literally no prep for Mega Aggron other than Focus Blast, or Z Focus Blast, Thunder T, and Donphan, which just got phased out the entirety of the game. But yeah, turn 1, you were behind the 8 ball and just couldn't really come back from it, which isn't necessarily... no, it's pretty bad. It was a pretty bad loss. We were very confused by Pangoro not coming to this matchup because Pangoro on paper puts in a ton of work with just the likes of Drain Punch and Ice Punch. So that was a little bit confusing on our end, but ultimately, yeah, that's why we have you at number 6. It was just a pretty clean 6-0, and none of your mons could touch Aggron, and Aggron just clicked Roar, and yeah, that was pretty much all that battle was. So moving on again pretty quickly there, we're moving on to Smeargle, coach of the Hidden Valley Ralts, and we have you at number 5, pulling out a clean win, pulling up to 2-2. It was a really strong battle from both you and Ryan. So strong performance here. I don't remember what this note is about, so give me 1 second. So how are you all doing today? Let me know in the comment section down below how you're feeling about our power rankings and how bad they are. Blame X. X is terrible at this. Anyway, okay. I remember now. We had Muck going for the second curse, which we found a little bit questionable given the circumstances of the battle. So that was one of our negatives. You had really strong scouts throughout the entire battle, just coming in, bouncing out. Not bouncing out, but like making sure that you had the right prep and knowing that some of your other walls could take hits, scouting for the coverage that would hit your mons, and you just use it very, very effectively. We felt the Power Herb Halucha was a really strong bring, and it ended up giving you a clean 2-0 victory. So good game. I'm sorry, I don't really remember as much of this battle as I thought I did. So I am moving on to number 4. In 3, 2, 1. Nailed it. At number 4, we have Saul, coach of the Barisha Pichus. Saul, teach me how to train Pokemon to always get full pairs. Outside of that, we actually feel like you played really, really strongly this week. You are now 3-1, and we feel like this is one of the weeks that you truly earned the record of 3-1. You had some questionable lucky wins, but this week you dominated pretty much the entirety of the game, taking up a 4-0 win. The taunt Thundy was a strong bring, especially given the threat of webs. I don't think Thunder has brought webs yet, but still you have to prep for that. You protected rocks from your side of the field very, very well, even sacking off Thundy to a Nidoqueen to keep rocks off your side, which is really, really important, especially in this matchup because Volcarona, once it came in, the battle was pretty much over, assuming your coverage was like Bug Buzz, Fire Blast, Psychic with Quiver Dance. I'm pretty sure that's the only coverage you would have needed. But really strong prep on your end. You also made some really strong predictions with your Celebi, and you scouted out very well with that. Ultimately, it came down to the fact that Diancie and Volcarona just pretty much won this game, and you maintained control of the battle the entirety of it. So really strong game there, and that's why we have you at number 4. At number 3, we have Lagoon, coach of the Flint Muddy Waters. Where is Lagoon's battle? Give me 1 second. Man, I am killing this game. Alright, Lagoon, you played UKIT. And yeah, your persistence with your rocks was absolutely incredible. You kept Mamo at full health 23 turns into the battle, and I think he got it rocks like 4 times, which was absolutely awesome to watch. You used Zorok really, really well. Sorry, I kind of blanked for a second. But yeah, you disguised it very well and really took advantage of that ability. So really strong play there. And ultimately, we just feel like your persistence and patience in this battle was really strong. It was a little bit stally for a little while in the middle of the battle between you and UKIT, especially with both of your defensive cores being so stout. But we feel like you controlled the majority of the game because that Zapdos was annoying to your team, but every time it was coming in, it had to take those 25% and then waste a turn to defog. So you really capitalized on that very, very well and maintained your dominance of the side of the field throughout the entirety of the battle. Moving on to number 2, we have OP Jellicent, coach of the Anstar City Agrons. And similar to what we said for Jake, Aggron just hard-walled his entire team. One of our questions was, why was it Life Orb Tentacle? We agree offensive Tentacle was very, very strong in this battle, but we feel like Scarf Tentacle would have been a little bit better, given that it will outspeed Sceptile or Mega Sceptile Thunderous, Tauros, Mismagius, and it would also outspeed a Scarf Rotom. So we feel like Scarf would have been a little bit of a better bring in this matchup. But overall, the offensive Tentacruel was a good call. Really strong scouting with your Aggron against the Thundy, especially given that you had that Raikou that just ate up the all-out pummeling. So you kept your Aggron pretty much walling his entire team, just clicking Roar, which was, I don't know if it was fun to watch, but it was good to watch you just kind of dominate. Anyway, biggest note, high jump kick on Mienshao, not regular jump kick. Come on, man. You got to risk those misses. Also, great work not inviting Slaybait to the chat. Makes it so much easier to watch. I'm going to keep emphasizing that. And back up to number 1 in our power rankings, similar to our post-draft power rankings, we got ABP. Coach of the Geo is 12 Flagons. So ABP is at number 1 because of pretty much strong prep all around. Similar to Lagoon's match, we felt you were in control of it the entirety of the time. That Calm Mind Coco was really, really strong burn. Basically, if you didn't have that innards out puke, I think you would have just 6-0'd, to be honest. Additionally to that, the sub bulk upset was fantastic, and the way you EV'd your Mega Glade to take the Scalds without breaking subs was very, very intelligent. Because you could have sat there and sub bulked up the entirety of the game for the most part. And yeah, just really strong prep. You scouted, you didn't sacrifice the differential when your Mega Glade was low, so really strong there. And yeah, overall, that is going to be it for our D-League power rankings for week 4. As always, I'm Cton Nation, joined by XRN, absolutely killing yet another power rankings. Again, next week we will have our video up a little bit early. I haven't asked permission, but I don't really care because I'm my own man. So yeah, that's that. Peace out. I love you guys.